Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going over Batich's defense, so we're going to jump right into this. We grade on 5 different criteria: who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. If you want to skip ahead, look for the description down below. You just drag that slider until you see them wherever the window is, in the window, and you can jump right to it. All right, team number 1 is a hero brawler team. I hate hero brawlers or young Avengers, whatever you want to call it. This is obviously a filler team. We've got low numbers, low investment, and that's fine. I think, honestly, I'm going to score you higher because you didn't waste points putting into this team. I wish my Spider-Man was this low. I wish my Miles was this low. It's not stopping anybody. Honestly, this is actually kind of a frustrating number right here because a lot of people are going to try and clear this with either garbage of an equivalent number where they might actually get stopped, or they're going to take a synergized team, which is probably going to be a punch down into this. So this is kind of actually a really good filler team for you. You have Skirmisher, and you should be putting Striker on everybody else. Since you only have level 1, go ahead and change them to Striker. You're going to get a lot more value out of the team. You might be able to catch people off guard with it. Probably not. However, I'm going to give you a B as this is just a filler team. And I'm only grading you that high because it's not worth investing in, and it's a pretty tricky number to get around. So you could take advantage of this in that way. However, I hate these ISOs, so change them all to Striker except for Miss Marvel. Team number 2, Brotherhood 2.0. This is an offensive team that you're running on defense. At this number, it's easily one-shottable. Probably somebody's just going to come in here with, I don't know, Squirrel Girl and something else for the cleanse of the blind, and then they'll just slap this team down. It's not really going to stop anybody, and it's not going to require you to use anything synergized to come into it. Like, it's not going to use up a good team. So this here is kind of a waste. This team should be taken off for offense. Put a little bit of an investment in here, and when you come across a crappy shield guard team or like a Fury Coulson shield team, one of those old school ones, that's when you're going to use this. Basically, it's cleanup or picking off some small teams on a flight deck, but it still has value. And if you want to invest in this at higher ends, it has a lot more value, and you can build it into a defense with Doom, or possibly Ultron, although I don't think the Ultron version is that effective. I think Doom Brotherhood is really good if you want to build into it. But at low numbers is what it is. Let's see. Juggernaut should be Raider. Blob should be Skirmisher because he throws up taunts and he's always counterattacking and it puts out those vulnerables. And then Skirmisher here, I'd take him to level 5, get that focus boost so he is clearing on his opening move. And then you want to go Raider here because he's doing his adjacent damage works like an AoE because they're clumped together, so he's hitting 5 or more people or however many people he hits. Because everybody's clumped together. So you definitely want to go Raider. You're going to get a ton of value out of the Raider on him, not Striker. And then Magneto is going to be Raider, or you could go with a level 5 Skirmisher for the focus boost, making sure that all his blinds stick. I personally like him as a Raider. For now, where we're at in the game, you might just not invest in this team. I don't know, could be worth it to bring these guys all up to gear tier 12 and use them on offense. That's probably my recommendation for you. Change those ISOs before you get too carried away. And yeah, I'm gonna give you a C for it. Actually, kind of C minus. I don't like these ISOs down here. C minus for that team. Let's see if we can't get it fixed and do a small investment to use it on offense. Team number 3, OG Sinister Six. This is a filler team. You're doing exactly what you should be doing with it. We've got Raider, Healer. I'd like to see Raider on him. You could do Striker, Skirmisher, Raider on Electro, doesn't matter. Same thing with Shocker. Skirmisher, Striker work fine. Raider even works. I'd like to see Raider on Rhino. Striker brings up his damage, but he's kind of so slow, he's not popping off. It's better to get a chance of vulnerables hitting on the field. And then you've got Skirmisher on him. He does a pretty good assist counterattack thing with his basic, so I'd like to see him as a Striker instead of a Skirmisher, but whatever, really doesn't matter. This is just a filler team. I wouldn't invest anything else. I wouldn't even bother changing the ISOs. Just set it and forget it. As is, it's just pretty meh. I don't like some of the ISOs you're using, but mostly it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to say a C. It's just there to fill this slot. Team number 4. Mercs with Shuri and Killmonger. Okay. Gosh. We always see improper Mercs. Okay, so you got Skirmisher here, but you have no strikers on the field. So he's being wasted as a skirmisher if he doesn't have striker Mercs. On this team, Killmonger should be a striker. On this version with Shuri, he should be a striker also. If you're using straight Mercs, then he's the healer. But she's doing enough healing, you don't need him as a healer. It's better to make him a striker, so he's bringing out the potential here. And then Riot Guard, you have him as a fortifier because he's got low investment and you're trying to cover for that. It's not going to work. You just need to bring him up. Also, you need to change your placement. I think that you should be going something like Taskmaster, Riot Guard, Lieutenant, then Killmonger, and then Shuri. Maybe. Something like that. Whatever you do, you need him in the middle and you need him in the middle someplace because they have adjacent stuff going on. Make sure those two guys are in the middle. So I don't like the ISOs. I don't like your placement. Your power levels are all over the place. This team is easily going to be crushed by an X-Force. Yeah, it needs a lot of work. I'm going to give you a D+ for that. It's the right people. Everything else is going wrong on it. I think the only thing you got right was Shuri's healer thing there. All right, team number 5. Hydra Zemo. This is a pretty good team, but you need to get Crossbones out of here. He's not doing you any good. It makes Red Skull too easy to kill. With just one more minion in there, that 75% damage reduction is almost as good as 100% damage reduction. So, and honestly, Crossbones just, you don't have him invested. Like, if you had him like maxed out or high red stars or something, maybe. There's no reason for him to be in here. Get rid of him. You went healers on everybody except for Zemo. You went raider. Zemo's great as a raider. He's also good as a skirmisher with that extra focus so that his ability block sticks on certain game modes. So I would keep him as a raider for now because you've got such a high investment, but be prepared to switch him to a skirmisher for some high-end content. Okay, personally, I like taking all these minions and Zemo and Red Skull himself and making them fortifier because it makes Red Skull that much harder to get through when with the 75% damage reduction. That fortifier is going to cover the extra 25% basically, and the healers aren't doing anything for you. Change those all to fortifier. That way, when they die and revive, they're always reviving with some amount of barrier. This is one of the few teams where fortifier works really well. And so you can kind of build it up to war ready levels. Get this guy out of here. And I think you should replace him with probably, I think this is Grenadier, isn't it? I don't know. Make sure you have Grenadier, Rifle Trooper, and Scientist. You could also do the Hydra Guard, or whatever his name is, that taunts. You could do him too. He kind of flusters some people, but he's not that great. I recommend the other ones. But yeah, Zemo on this team makes it really tough for other people to come in here with like a power armor or maybe a black bolt. There's a bunch of RNG that goes with this. Also, he's inflating this number a little bit, and that doesn't work out in this team's favor. So build these characters up. The Hydra Red Skull team has like a fluctuating value in the game because of what you need to use to destroy it. Like, sometimes it takes up a Black Bolt or a Surfer or a Kestrel or whatever. I hope nobody's using Kestrel to take this team down. That'd be a waste, but it's an option. So it's valuable in the teams that it absorbs. It doesn't ever get you a defensive victory, although sometimes you catch people off guard with this Zemo. But what is happening with this is people are going to see this 238. They're going to come in with something like a 300 something. Maybe like a... Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll just come in with a Surfer, or maybe they'll come in with a Zemo of their own. But yeah, I think you need to invest in the rest of the Red Skull team and swap him out with a minion. I don't like these healers, but the placement doesn't matter. This guy sucks. So a lot of work to be done here. C-. Yeah, a lot of work to be done there. But it is a good team to invest in still, because you don't have to take them through the roof. Just get them up to like gear tier 12, maybe a couple of T4s and certain members, pick and choose. And then basically that cheese ball mechanic forces people to throw at this team something good. Team number 6, Wave 1 Avengers, classic build, proper placement, good ISOs. I prefer Raider on Thor, but Striker is good enough that I won't dock you for it. The increase in damage value is good. They're war ready. That's fantastic. You could put a little more into these two right here, because the war ready bonuses are making this team a little bit tougher for things to stick to, and building them up a little bit more for makes it even harder for Mordo to stick a stun on this guy. Building up your Thor helps against that blind, but there's so many opportunities for him to be blinded or re-blinded or passed around. So it's a great team. You're doing everything right. I would invest a little bit more in it. You get an A for this one. Team number 7, Emmarauders. Straight Oh, no, never mind. Doc Ock in here instead of Mystique. Let's see. Healer, Striker. Change him to a Raider. Change him to a Fortifier. Actually, you've already got him as a Striker. It's not worth the investment to change it. You should have changed him to a Fortifier. That barrier mechanic really helps to keep him alive. But since you've already invested Striker, keep him as is. But definitely change Sabretooth to a Raider on his new team. He's definitely going to be a Raider. And then Doc Ock, build him up. Build Doc Ock up because he's useful, and get him to blue ISO healer. I tried Silver Samurai on this team. We were testing him before we did this video on stream, and it looks like he's so slow he's not doing it. Maybe at super high ends, maybe I'm missing the wrong T4. I need to look into it, but so far I thought he was going to be better on this team, Silver Samurai, but he's awfully slow. He's awfully slow. So I would say if you're going to go for an alternative, Doc Ock's pretty good. I like him putting the deflect on Sinister and spreading it to the rest of the team, but I also like him putting a deflect on Sinister. So maybe adjust these two with these two, and that way you're getting deflects on Sinister and Strife. And then alternatively, you could take him out and put Wolverine in there short term. Wolverine and Sabretooth are doing a heck of a lot of damage. They go pretty fast when they're paired up together. A lot to be said about that. Throws people off. Nothing's really seeming to stop the Shadowlands from tearing this team apart, though. I haven't found a good way to break up the Shadowlands. When I do, I'll be sure to let you know. But it appears that it is not Silver Samurai. I kind of like what you're doing here. Like I said, adjust the placement. You could consider changing this ISO. You definitely need to change this ISO. Also, go ahead and start powering up Sabretooth, because he's going to be great on that team. He's good on this team. It doesn't hurt to bring up his investment. Also, I'm thinking Sabretooth might be pretty good for people who are going into DD4 now, especially if you have Sinister and Strife built up. I had a lot of fun taking Sinister and Strife into DD4. I found them very useful. I took Emma on my second run, and she was very useful. So taking this 4-piece in might be pretty good. All right, I'm going to give you a B+ for this. It's not too bad. It just needs a little bit of, little nip tuck here. Number 8. This is that kind of Inhumans, kind of Shield, kind of hybrid thing going on here. Your power levels are so wonky. That's really going to be the downfall of this team, right? Because, like, he's not blowing anybody up. He's just getting blown up. Man, I barely got any voice left. I apologize. Yo-Yo has synergy with Coulson and Black Bolt. But those power levels, man, you're getting killed. You can bring Black Bolt up. He's on the decline. So if you're going to bring him up now. Otherwise, forget about it. Because he's over time, he's going to be power crept. Not as much as other kit-based characters, stat-based characters, but a little, He's got a lot of use because of his non-revive abilities. Like, you might consider at this power level, build them up just a little bit more and then just use them on offense for taking down teams like Red Skull and those teams that you got to kill them permanently. Something like that. He may not be the best option for this team with how much you need to invest in these three. You might consider doing the new Warriors team. They are better on offense than they are on defense. It's hard to keep them alive on defense. So build a new Warriors team and use them on offense. Silver Surfer, well, he's Silver Surfer. He can go on offense or defense. He's a plug and play character. I mean, I love this team, but you've got a long ways to go to make this team work. And I'm not sure at this point if Coulson and Yo-Yo and Black Bolt are worth putting in the kind of investment you need. They're good characters. They're good to already have been invested in, but you know, they're on their backswing right now. It's not looking good for them. So Skirmisher on her, yes, you should probably take her to level 5 if you want to get serious about this team. Or I should say a blue 3 Skirmisher ISO on her so that you're placing the double vulnerable so that when you get these guys beefed up to level 3 Skirmisher, they're really doing the damage because it looks like you want to take them all the way up. Otherwise, when they're on their raid teams, make sure they have a proper corresponding vulnerables on the field if you take them up to Striker level 3 blue. Coulson should be a raider. Black Bolt is a striker. Yeah, he's a striker. So, yeah. Honestly, I'm just not sure if the investment is worth it at this time. This is a great defensive team. It's catching a lot of people. It's tough to beat, but you got to put a lot of work into it, and you're going to be putting work into tunes that are old, you know? So I have trouble recommending wasting that much of an investment in them, or maybe not wasting, but pouring that much of an investment into these older tunes. I'm thinking pull him off and create a hybrid, pull her off, run her on offense, take these tunes off entirely and just come up with a different idea, a different game plan with them, because their power levels on this team are so wonky. You know, you can come in here with something that's going to gain some speed, some turn meter off of hitting them low or killing them. Otherwise, this team's just going to fold pretty easy. You need it to be entirely powered up and even. So, okay, I'm going to give you a C- for this. It seems like you're wasting a lot of things here. Usually when I tell people that they should just break up the team and use it elsewhere, it's because it's a waste of resources and it gets a low grade. Team number 9, Symbiotes. You got some interesting ISOs. I like Striker here. I like Striker here. I like Skirmisher here. Let's see. I think I did Raider here and Skirmisher here is what I did. That might have been it. Yeah, I like. You can also do Striker on screen. I mean, these two characters a lot works because they are doing adjacent attacks. They're clearing things. They're spreading things. There's a lot going on, so it doesn't matter too much which ISOs you use. A lot depends too on what game mode you're in and where you're using them. For defense, I think this is going to work fine. I don't think it's worth investing or making a change in these guys. I would go ahead and power up Venom. I've been playing in Doom 1 and Doom 2 a little bit, and I think that the Symbiotes at this time are worth putting a modest investment in. Don't go too crazy on them. If you've got them unlocked, if you've got decent stars, which I consider this to be decent, any less and it'd be kind of iffy, but I consider this decent, and I think it's worth bringing them up to like 5, maybe even 600k total for the team, and running them in Doom 1.1, or I should say 1.0 and Doom 2. I think people should be skipping Doom 1.1, but that's we'll have to do a video on that and see what we think. I think you're doing okay. Definitely bring up Venom a little bit. I know he's like the least important character, but I don't like swapping in Phyla-Vell for him. I don't like the things that are going on. We just don't know where this team is going or what we're going to be getting for a bio replacement. So for now, I like taking this team to 500, 550 and running them in raids. I think they're a great team. They're a lot of fun. And I think they're kind of flexible. So I think you're doing everything okay here. I'm going to give you a B. They just need a little bit more work. Team number 10, the final team, Heroes for Hire. So I still see people putting Colleen Wing next to Luke Cage, and that's okay, I guess. It does trigger her counterattack when she receives some splash damage, but the thing is that I'm being told that at the higher ends, people really like it when she has some starting damage for them to go into after they get rid of Luke Cage. See, the thing is you work on Luke Cage, and when the time approaches, you get that ability block on Wang Chung here, and then once Luke Cage is killed, then you go after Colleen Wing, and then their damage output is significantly reduced when you get rid of Colleen Wing, and you can take down the rest of the team relatively easy. The thing I recommend to all players is Luke Cage, followed by Iron Fist, and you want to go Fortifier on Luke Cage, Skirmisher or Healer on Iron Fist, Striker, Skirmisher, Raider on these three, and then what you need to do is bring your power level up over 400k. Anything over 400k, it's an automatic. They have to use Infinity Watch until Omega Red and his team comes out. So invest in this team. You don't even need to use T4s. You can just build them up to the point where they get up over 400k, and that's good enough. And that's all you need to do is make sure that they have to use Infinity Watch. Now, they did get nerfed a little bit. You can triple tap this team, and they will, by that time, they will stop putting out charges. And so we're not going to see any more of these defensive victories in the 20s and 30s and stuff like that, where this team just can't be beat. You're not going to see that anymore. So it's really not worth investing over 400k. But you definitely want to get them over 400k for the Infinity Watch counter to be used up. That about covers it. So thanks for joining me. If you liked it, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. If you want your defense featured, please message me in Discord. The links are down below. Remember, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and each other too. I'll catch you next time. Bye.